Failures mean nothing, but what you learn from them can potentially change your life. We've all heard this before. However, how many of us actually have the courage to live by this theory? Hello everyone, I'm Mannsi Agrawal and you're welcome to If I Had Not Failed on News 24, coming to you straight from Yakin Yati. On this show, we seek to normalize failure, and more than that, we seek to celebrate the lives of those successful people who have turned every failure of their lives into a foundation for success. Our guest here today is one of the people I'm extremely inspired by. He started his life in a small village in Baglung and then created a business empire spanning many different countries across the world. He is somebody who started the IME conglomerate, somebody who's extremely pivotal in institutionalizing the entire remittance business in Nepal. Over a career spanning 3 decades, he managed to contribute to society in many different ways as entrepreneur, philanthropist, and also visionary. He is a lifelong learner. He is an avid reader. He is a great listener. He is also somebody that people look up to for leadership. Personally for me, he is somebody that never fails to amaze me on every meeting and every conversation. He is none other than Mr. Raj Dhakal. Namaste sir, thank you so much for coming to this show. It really means a lot to me that you actually came and you're willing to share your stories and all these insightful things from your life. Without any further ado, sir, I'll start with my first question that I ask everybody, and that is, what do you consider your greatest failure and why?
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me in your very prestigious shows. It is so, amazing feeling to be over here. So what I believe about my failure is that, I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to go to America back in 1994. So I have applied the visa in US Embassy. Then I got rejected from there. It's not one time, I got rejected 3 times. So at that point of time, I thought that was my failure. I consider that was my failure at that point of time. When I was rejected from the US Embassy, then as a 19-year-old boy, I thought that probably my dream was gone. I was no more useful of doing anything. I was in a very low level, I would say. But immediately, I have realized that that was not the end of the life. So I got to have plan B.
And your plan B was?
My plan B was to try for Japan. Then I tried for Japan visa. The interesting thing is I also got rejected from there. But in my second attempt, I got the Japan visa. So I would consider that that was my turning point in my life.
But sir, tell me, what kind of persistence does it take for a 19-year-old child? And I'm going to say child because at 19 you're very young. A 19-year-old child from a village wants to go to America, become a doctor, and he gets rejected thrice. Yet he tries and tries again. Do you think this was about strength? You were extremely strong and persistent? Or is it that you were just silly and you didn't know what you wanted to do?
What I believe was at that point of time, my necessity, my hunger, and coming from the village and having some sort of dream. I think these 3 things were, pushing me to move ahead and to do something that time.
But when you failed, how did that make you feel?
Initially, I was devastated. I thought that I was in, I was in no use of anything. I can't do anything. But subsequently, later on, I have made up my mind and convinced my mind that if you failed for America, why not try for Japan? Sometimes in our society, we don't accept failure things. In fact, failure is the greatest foundation for learning. There is saying, there is no such thing called failure. whether you win or you learn. So that was my foundation principle, and I followed that one.
And you said Japan was a turning point in your life. How?
When I wanted to go to America, but I couldn't go, I went to Japan. Subsequently, after going to Japan, I have learned a lot of things, how the time management is done, how the resilience, persistence, how to survive, because coming from the village, going to Japan without knowing the language, without knowing the culture, without knowing the history, it was not easy to adapt the Japanese culture and systems. And Japan being very, I would say very, very internally connected. I mean, it's not exposed to the foreign land, very closed society. It was not easy to sustain the life. So I had to learn a lot to survive my, life over there. So that was my biggest learning, and that was my foundation also. From that foundation, I believe that was the foundation which made me who I am today.
That's amazing. And two things are coming to my mind right now. Firstly, how do you think your life would have been different if you would have gone to America, never to Japan, and you wouldn't have failed there? How do you think your life would be different?
Probably you'd have been, interviewing to some of the doctor today rather than, Raj Dhakal.
So Dr. Dhakal.
Dr.
Okay.
Dhakal.
Okay.
So my dream was to become a doctor and to help the society, especially in the village area. So if not Japan, probably I would be, going to America, coming back from America, I would have been definitely working in some hospitals as a doctor and, helping the society from different perspective. But as a businessman today, even though I could not be a doctor, but I'm helping the society from different perspective. I am helping the society by providing even health service today, but not as a capacity of medical doctor, but as a capacity of probably you can say investor or the entrepreneur from that particular area.
So now when I look back at this journey of 25, 26 years, what I'm thinking is, yes, possibly at that point it hurt you a lot. Yeah. However, today, am I correct in assuming that you don't have regrets because you wanted to serve society, and today you are serving society in a different way, creating a huge impact, but in a different way? Is it fair to say that that failure taught you a lot and today you don't have regrets?
I don't have regret. I mean, the failure, which was the foundation, my success, and that failure taught me a lot. And from that foundation, which is, making me who I am today. So I don't have regrets from that perspective.
Great. That's very nice to hear, because this show really, I'm trying to help people understand that failure is normal. People in our society, we look upon failure badly. When you do badly in school, your teachers get angry with you. But we have to understand that doing badly at something just gives you direction in life and it gives you clarity. So it's so nice to hear that today you don't have regrets about your failure. My next question to you is, since then it's been a long journey as an entrepreneur through many continents, many countries. Yeah. Have there been small struggles or failures or hiccups along the way there?
Every person, not only entrepreneurs, every person has many failures. Whether that is coming to the picture or not, or whether you are saying those failures or not, that is different part. Yes, I had too many failures, but the failures gave me a lot of lessons. They taught me how to succeed in next part. So I would say failures are the foundation for success. If we are talking about our society does not accept the failure, because we have that sort of old schooling, old thought of school. But if you look at the developed country or America kind of things, people who became very successful in their own career, at any point of time, they have failed in different ways, right? So for me, without failure, there is no success. So failure is the step for the success. That what I learned during my 30 years of journey.
So in your 30 years, who has been there by your side, mentally and emotionally supporting you through failures? Because I feel it's very important to have a friend or a group of friends or some sort of like a cushion, somebody that makes you deal with the failure better. Who's been there by your side?
Obviously, my family was there, my mom was there, my brother was there. Later, I married my wife, my kids were there. Whenever I had the failure, I was having the low times, then they were there to support me. They were the foundation, they were the strength for me to overcome. And what I have learned is basically, you may fail in something, but that was not the end of the life. You have to keep trying, you have to look for the next option to become the success, right? So when you fail in something, I think you have ample amount of experience to make the next venture successful. I have learned that more in my 30 years of journey.
Can you give me one example of something that you learnt from a failure or a project or some business which you directly implemented to success in some other project? So let's say project A, you made a mistake, something went wrong, somehow you did not succeed in that, but whatever you learned from there, a direct learning that you implemented in project B that really took off and became a huge success.
Just wanted to give you some example. When we started money transfer business, that time we did not have much of understanding about the technology. So we wanted to build the system. We built the system, but what happened was the system was offline, whereas the market was demanding the online system. The offline system, the desktop-based system became failure that time. Later I have realized that, I think that was the timing. I think I failed fast into that system, which made me think about the new ways of system which can really impact to the larger network, larger number of people and larger number of customers. So because of that failure, the new innovation came into the company, which which helped us to grow and scale up the company. I think that was my biggest lesson from there.
Great. Now tell me, when you're struggling with something as a businessman, as an entrepreneur, I understand there's a lot of responsibility on your head. You're employing so many people for whose lives, directly, indirectly, you are responsible, their lives and their dependents. How do you deal with that struggle? How do you deal with that pressure on you?
When you are working with different environment, different set of team, definitely the pressure is there, demand is a lot of your personal time demanding is there. A lot of stress is there, but what I have realized is that I have to be positive in every moment, so that I cannot probably control the result kind of things, consequences kind of things, but at least I can control my mind, which gonna help me to refocus and realign with the team to make the to do the better decision making process, I would say.
That's a great thing when you said, I cannot control what's happening outside, but at least I can control my mind. What are the tools you use to control your mind, or how do you manage to align yourself to the positive school of thought?
I do a lot of readings, I do a lot of meditation, I also play a lot of sports, tennis. Somehow I have realized that is also helping me to come down a little bit, and I play a lot of maths games. In games, you don't win all the games, all the maths, right? But that will teach you something, how to lose. I mean, how to be calm while you are losing. So that tennis helped me a lot, saying that in every argument you don't need to win. you have to lose sometimes to learn more. So that was my foundation.
So do you then suggest to people that if they want to sort of be able to have better control over the way they think, especially when the situation is not favorable, do you think competitive sports, playing, engaging your mind in something different, looking at it from a different perspective is a good idea?
Definitely. When you play sport, your thought process is different. You can clearly see if you are the sport personality, your conversation, your thought process is something different. Sportsmanship character is something different. So definitely that will help for each and every person to have the better understanding, better control their mind, and better connect with person, and to let go your ego.
This is amazing because you also talk about the word ego. I heard that word come in. And for me, when you, as an entrepreneur, talk about sportsmanship, it really is merging the two worlds together. We've had so many episodes. This is the 13th episode of my show, and yet we've never had a sports person come and talk about this. But for me, it's really nice to hear it from you, because what I'm hearing from you is to take all the understandings and the insights from sports and to apply it into a completely different field and how that can help. That was amazing. Now let's talk a bit about ego. You said how to control your ego, or how to not let your ego get the better of you. Do you sometimes feel that that can happen? That, oh, I've done so much, I've achieved so much. Now, it's okay to have an ego and it's okay to be like that. Do you think that that happens sometimes?
I think I'm not an egoist person. I mean, I can compromise. I don't really, they are demanding that, okay, things has to be like my way. Okay, no. I mean, if somebody has the better option, or if somebody has the better approach than yours, then you should learn from that approach.
Right.
I think this technique or these skills has been given to me by my tennis, I would say. In tennis, when you are playing and when you are going to the court, you got to have new skills, new set every day. I mean, when you are playing with different personalities, every personalities are different. So you have a lot of learning from there. So I try to use that technique into my business as well.
That's amazing. So you read a person and according to their gameplay, you modify your own, and then you also apply this learning into business. That's amazing. And yes, I have known you for a very long time now, since I think probably 10, 12 years ago. And I can vouch for the fact that when it comes to learning, when it comes to absorbing, you are like a sponge. I love that you share so much, and you also want to gain so much and learn so many new things. So that's definitely there. Now let me ask you about this. When you are invested or involved in a business, do you get very passionate about it?
Yes.
Yes. But as a businessman, do you think it's also important to know when to let go?
Definitely. When you are passionate about something, the things will turn out to different level. When you are investing into something, you are investing with your passion. It's not only your monetary value or your other commitment as well. The first and foremost important part is how much passion you have to turn that business into next level. So passion is the first step, I would say.
How do you manage to balance the passion versus everything else in your life? Because I know you're extremely passionate about the work you do. I know you're very passionate about creating value in the world. But how do you manage that? Have you ever sometimes maybe felt that you failed at managing that or at balancing that?
Yeah, sometimes I have realized that probably I'm not delegating too much to the team. Probably which is causing me a lot of pressure for myself. But lately I have learned how to delegate to the team. Of course, you have a passion. You are not really looking after day-to-day business, but you are in a strategy level, and you are delegating your team. So that team is running the show, and that is helping a lot to grow the business into different level.
I like the humility with which you say that they are the ones who are running and I'm just helping them to grow everything. Have you ever struggled with handling the team? Because you spoke about lessons from tennis and handling people around. What are some of the struggles that an entrepreneur would have in handling a team?
Obviously, as a human, probably, you know, my thought process and your thought process is completely different. My, you know, doing things and other persons doing things are completely different. My value system and others' value system are completely different. But when we are there to have the common vision, you know, common objective, then you have to let go small issues which may hinder to, you know, achieve the big goals. You have to let go the small issues and to unite to achieve the big one.
Right. So aligning the vision basically would mean that you try to show them the vision that you have so that they're on board with you, right?
Yeah.
That's great, because I think that's also the starting point of getting a team to work as a team and to collaborate in the right way. Okay, so we're coming towards the end of this entire conversation and I'm truly enjoying it. But now I want to ask you this. If a young student or somebody else is struggling with work, or let's say somebody's got a small startup, they're 25, 26, struggling with the startup, and they want to give up, they want to stop, they want to retreat, they want to possibly take up a job and play it safer. What would you tell them? How do they evaluate that process?
I think today, not like 25 years before, today, if you have vision, if you have, you know, proper plan, many people are there to invest and support into your vision, right? It's not that just you, people are around you to support you. So now we can see in Nepal, a lot of like young people are having different set of skills, and they are creating different startup which is impacting to the society, impacting to the business, you know, disrupting the existing business. But this is long-term process. It's not like that it is going to go in 2 days, you know, it is going to succeed overnight. No, it has to be long-term process. You have to be passionate for that one. You have to be passionate, and you know, if you follow your passion, if you think that this is going to impact the society, this is going to impact the whole nation in a positive way, you should go. You should go, and you know, you should not drop the idea, because today is difficult, tomorrow may be difficult, more difficult, but after tomorrow, you know, there will be beautiful things coming to the picture.
And I like how you say that with a smile, because I know that in your life as well, things haven't always been easy, but once they took off, it's easier to handle it in a way, right? So tell me one thing, if a young student or a young person has got a startup, they are not giving up, right? What are some of the channels that they can look to for support? Like you said, there are people, and there are many people to support and invest. But what are some of the other channels that they can probably get some kind of support from? Mentors, or, I mean, how would you suggest they go about it?
Yeah, I think, you know, mainly the issues in the startup, what I have seen is basically, you know, they like to work from their own idea. But when you are talking about the scaling of the business, you need to have a team, you need to have a mentor, you need to have a trainer, so that they will guide you. If you know you are missing your path, they will give you the good suggestion, they will help you to grow, they will you know, help you to make the process, they will help you to make the organization. So for that, you need to have a mentor, you need to have a trainer. Ultimately, that will, you know, make your idea to, you know, to go to different level, I would say.
So when you were scaling up your businesses, how did you have a mentor, or did you mentor yourself in the process? Did you manage to coach yourself, talk to yourself a lot, or did you have somebody else who was handling the part of keeping you in the right place and mentoring you?
I'm the lifelong Mannsi. So I'm always in a learning curve. In Japanese, there is saying, "Shikkari gambatte kudasai."
I don't know what that means. You'll have to translate it now.
So you have to work hard and you have to continuously progress. I always believe in that one. So you need to improve yourself.
Right.
You need to sharpen your knowledge. Right. You know, you have to probably, go and get the new training. For me, I went to different universities to learn the new techniques. I went to MIT, I went to Harvard, I went to London Business School after finishing my MBA from here. So I learned a lot from there, and I had the opportunity to understand how the business is globalized, how the system is designed over there, how the process is designed over there. Now there are multiple options. I mean, you don't need to go physically to the universities. You can learn a lot of online courses from there. You can have online training session from there. You can have online trainer at your doorstep. So the option is there. The important part is how enthusiastic you are to learn and sharpen your knowledge. That's what matters, I think.
Excellent. It's just so nice to hear that there are so many options, and in spite of the fact that you didn't have access to so many things all those years ago, you managed to scale up. You managed to, just because of your enthusiasm and your passion, you managed to do that. And today we are here having this wonderful conversation. My final question to you is, what is your message for the next generation of entrepreneurs or anybody else? What is your message as to how they should deal with failure?
I think the failure is the foundation for success. We should not give up for any failures. Once you have a passion, you have to continuously work on that. Persistence, perseverance is the key to get any success. So there is no such thing called failure. Life is also like a game, like a match.
Like a match of tennis? Are we talking tennis again? Okay.
Like a tennis match.
Right.
So in match, in life, there is no such thing called failure. Only two things gonna happen. Either you win the match or you learn from it and prepare for the next match. That's the message I just want to give.
So do you spend a lot of time in preparing every time you think there's a setback in your life?
Of course, I do.
And you sharpen the knife a lot?
Yes,
you're always continuously learning?
Yes. I do a lot of learning. I do a lot of online learning. I go and physical, attend many international programs, domestic programs, and I read a lot. I try to, sharpen my mind, and this is a continuous process, I believe.
That's amazing, because we've ended this on a very inspiring note. For all the people who think, oh, I've done my bachelor's, now I don't need to study anymore. Oh, my studies are done. Oh, I'm done with my MBA, now what's the point? I love that coming from a person who's achieved so much, who's done so much, who's already at a place where there's no real need to prove yourself to anybody anymore. I love that you ended this entire conversation on the topic of learning, because truly that is what I think sets you apart.
So what I believe is that, yes, you learned something yesterday, but that is not going to sufficient for today. So what I believe is, if you are not updated, you are going to be outdated, because the things, whatever brought you up to yesterday, it's not
good enough
to go to the next level. So you have to sharpen your knowledge, you have to learn new things, because technology is evolving so fast. A lot of disruption is there in each and every business. So if we are not able to learn, if we are not able to understand the current trend, we may not be there tomorrow. So the learning is the key to to be on the game.
Excellent. From the topic of entrepreneurship, I loved how we spoke about tennis and sportsmanship, and finally about learning and how you take in all these different things, absorb them and add value to the world. Thank you so much, sir. It's been a great conversation with you. As always, I got a chance to learn so many small and big things from you that I'm going to be able to implement in my life starting tomorrow morning. So it's wonderful to have this conversation with you. Thank you, sir, for your precious time, and thank you for being this icon that shares with us so freely. It's wonderful to have this conversation with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for giving me opportunity to share my experience, and it is wonderful to meet you over here and to share my experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. While today wasn't my first conversation with Mr. Dhakal, I was very amazed to hear certain unheard parts of his story. Today, 3 things really stood out for me. Number 1, if you're not going to be updated, you're going to be outdated. I think it is this philosophy which makes him such an avid and keen learner. He continuously upskills himself so that he can be prepared for all the challenges and all the wonderful things in the future ahead. The second thing that I was very happy to hear about was the fact that he believes that his failures teach him more than anything else ever can. He spoke about his failures with such humility and grace. And most importantly, I love that he spoke about how he learns a lot of things on the tennis field that he implements in the work. I think sports have a huge impact on people, and the way Sir talked about how he managed to learn about people, how he managed to pull himself out of a bad match really helped him to shape his own career as an entrepreneur. To me, I think this entire conversation has been enlightening and very memorable. To Sir, I'd just like to say thank you, not just for your words, not just for all that you do, but for living an example, a life that is truly exemplary to so many of us. Thank you for your contribution to the country, and personally for me, thank you for all the words that you share that always inspire me. Thank you.